Now let us look at the main sources of finance. There are two main sources of finance. We have internal sources of finance. This is the capital which can be raised within the business itself, e.g. retained profits, sale of non-current assets, working capital, and owners' savings. Those are examples of internal sources of finance. Internal sources of finance, that is whereby the business can raise its funds within itself. Then we have external sources of finance. This is capital raised from outside the business, e.g. bank loan, hire purchase, leasing, mortgage, debenture, and share issue. Now let us look at the internal sources of finance. We have the retained profits. We have the sale of non-current assets. We have the business working capital. We also have the owner's savings. There are four examples of internal sources of finance, which means the business can raise its funds through retained profits, number one, sale of non-current assets, number two, business working capital, number three, and the owner's savings, number four. The other way of raising funds internal is through the sale of non-current assets. There are two ways on which the business can use to raise funds internal. First, it's through the sale of unwanted non-current assets, the sale of unwanted fixed assets. Let us look at the advantages of this method and the disadvantages. The advantage of this method is that there is no direct cost to the business. Then the disadvantage of this method is that the other assets may be sold at low cost or at a low price. That's the sale of unwanted non-current assets. The other method on which we can raise money through fixed asset is the sale and lease back of the non-current assets. For example, land and buildings owned by the business, and then the business can decide to lease back what has been sold to the new owner of the property. Let us quickly look at the advantages and disadvantages of that method. The advantage is that there is no direct cost to the business. Two, it can raise very large amounts of money. Those are the benefits of leasing and renting the property at the same time. Disadvantages could include increased fixed cost, for example, electricity, for example, water. The other disadvantage includes leasing charges increase each time lease is renewed. Then the third disadvantage or limitation could be the fact that the leasing agreements may come to an end. Business may have no premises at all. The other way of enhancing internal sources of finance is through working capital. That's through working capital. What is working capital? Working capital is the capital needed to finance the day-to-day expenses of the business, and this working capital can be used by the business to pay for its short-term debts. The working capital may be increased or raised through the following. 1. We look at the cash balances of the business. We look at the money available internally and the money that is available in our bank account or current account that can be used to finance our capital expenditure. However, the cash should not be exhausted or finance capital expenditure, since this may bring operational risk into the business. We can raise capital or working capital through inventory. The business may decide to convert its inventory into cash by selling its stock. Then we can raise working capital through the accounts receivable. If we are talking about account receivable, we are anticipating to receive money from our debtors. Therefore, for us to achieve that, we have to reduce our debtors collection period so that debtors can pay in time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you on our next presentation.